Okay, so in this tutorial we're going to look at how we can constrain our camera so that we can, if we were to export this out to Marmoset Viewer, we could basically control how people look at the model and they can't look around the back and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to carry on with the scene that I've got, and I am going to create a new camera. Constrained cam. Constrained. Okay, so that's the camera we're looking at. So this is our scene. Okay, so if I open the camera up, we've got all the usual stuff that we can set up. But one of the areas that is the, I'm just going to switch the safe frame on so we can see what it would look like. 1920 by 1080. We are going to, in fact, I'll tell you what, let's do this so that we can get it out into Marmoset. So let's set the settings to 800 by 600. Okay, so that's how we're going to view it. And then when we go to export to Marmoset Viewer, we're going to set that as 800 600 as well. Okay, so what we want is we want to be able to rotate around this scene and get a sense of where it is. So I'm going to so the closest we probably want to get is there. If we look at this going in and out, we're getting an orbit distance, getting a value. So if I go into the limits here, I can set a limit for the near distance and a limit for the far distance, and as you can see, it's actually creating sides. So if I limit the near and set this to 1000, then you can see this is the transform for the limits, and as you can see, as I get closer and closer to this, you can see that's where it locks out and I can't go any further than that. So that gives me a guide of how close I can get with this camera. So if I want to set the far, I can zoom out, and let's say 2000 I want to set the far out at, based on that, and I have a far limit as well. And if I click that on, then you'll be able to see that as well. So you can see that I can basically flip between those 2 points and can't go any further. So when we go to export this, when anyone looks at this file, they won't be able to get closer than that, and they won't be able to get further away than that. However, they can still get round the whole object within that. So what we want to do next is we want to constrain that. So to do that, we need to limit the orbit for the pitch and for the yaw. So if we just take them one at a time, if we sort the pitch out, then you can see that we've got another set of these things, which again have a minimum and a maximum. So if we go to the minimum and say we want, let's go somewhere in between the two. Let's say we be able to go to is around there. Well, let's play with that value and bring that down somewhere like that, and then that means that we're locked. So basically we can't go higher than that. We can only go as low as that point, but maybe we don't want to be anyone to be able to see underneath. So if we come to about there and pull the max up to its about eye level around there, then a bit higher than that, you can see it locks out at that. So that's the most we can move up and down. So we can still move all the way around, we can still zoom some of the way in, some of the way out, and we can pitch some of the way up and some of the way down, but it locks out. So the last thing we want to do is set this one, which is the yaw. Now you can either go in here, and this is the same for the orbit as well, you can change this, or you can actually do it by eye. So if we get to kind of where we want to be able to see, so at the minute I'm locking out at that, I'm dead on in the middle of my view. If I push that round a bit, you'll find that I can go, maybe I want to go as far as there. If I bring that level with my view, more or less, then that's it, it's limited to that. And maybe I only want to go as far as there, so if I limit that to there, that's as far as that's going to go. So essentially that is now the shape of the influence I've got. It basically zooms from within here to here, and I've got a yaw, or I can go around the object that much, and I can go up and down. So it's almost like a window of where I can view it. As that's ready, all ready to go, then we can send it out, we can export it out. We could export it to Marmoset Viewer if we wanted, so we can fill this information in. We can set here, which we did already, and then you can send it straight to ArtStation if you want, or in this case I'm just going to give it a preview. So I'm just going to hit preview, and we have a Marmoset file.